Hello and welcome back to the Howl. My name is Connor Durkin, and today I'm sitting down with Coach Pardun once again to discuss this week's upcoming matchup against Wheeling, as well as recapping the past couple of weeks and much more. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Howl. My name is Connor Durkin. Today we're sitting down with Coach Pardun once again to discuss last week's game against Rolling Meadows, as well as this week's upcoming matchup against Wheeling. So, Coach, let's start off by talking about the Meadows game. Pretty much the game was all yours. I'd say by the end of the second quarter, you guys started pulling ahead, and it was pretty smooth sailing, at least from my perspective. What do you think the keys are for you guys when you get to that point, when you start pulling away? Just, you have a lot of things to pay attention to, right?
Yeah. I think the key at that point is staying focused on just doing your job at the moment, right? So never – I say it all the time, and I truly mean it. Like, I don't care what the score is. So whether we're up 14, down 14, like if you're doing your job, if you're – we talk about a win and loss on every play, and we have ways to gauge that. So you win the play, Obviously, you got to think game situation. But, we go back to the spring when we blew that lead and against Fremd. And I don't like to go back there. We talk as a team about not going back there. But talking to you, I remember telling the kids after that game that our program got better tonight. We were such a young team, and I think we learned a lesson that night, about playing with a lead and how you do that. And so I think we've learned from that. And so, yeah, you just keep executing and doing your job. It should look the same from the first play to the last play.
Yeah. And I was thinking about it the other day while I was writing the script for this podcast, and just realizing how much goes into – you got to pay attention. You got to pay attention to clock. You got to pay attention to score, obviously. Who's going in, who's staying out. It's just a lot, I think.
Yeah, and obviously we got a good coaching staff, so I rely on them, and ultimately I have to make some of those decisions, but I usually don't make them on my own. I'm usually talking to key guys with me. What do you think? What do you think? Gauging input as quick as I can, and then going from there. But, we're experienced, so this is a mature football team. Like, we can see that. I love that in a football team when you get that kind of experience and maturity. So I think they're starting to understand what it takes. But every week, even me, every week, you learn things every week. So, I definitely don't know everything about football, but I try and pick up things every week and go from there.
And it was senior night for the Meadows game. Lots of seniors had great plays. Dylan had his 2 touchdowns. Bonji had another great game as running back, and Jimmy was looking great as normal pretty much all season. This offense really has really been clicking since the beginning of the year with all that senior talent, I think.
Yeah, I mean, the offense has been executing. Jimmy runs it, and so it falls on him. But he does such a great job preparing. I love his not his attitude, but just the way he kind of stays. He's competitive as heck, but he stays really even keeled. So he's just done a great job of distributing the ball, and like I said, all those seniors and our line, we challenged them in the summer. So a little concerned with them in the summer and our progression, but they've gotten so much better that it's been really impressive to watch them.
Yeah, Jimmy was using his legs a little bit last Friday too, right? That was cool to see.
It was cool to see. I've been wanting to see more. I think his legs are probably underrated, and that's okay. We don't want to use them if we don't have to. But the threat is there, and me as more of a defensive guy and a former defensive coordinator, when the threat is there, you have to respect it. And so by Jimmy showing what he can do with his legs sometimes opens up even more things for us. People don't realize, but it does, because you have to account for him as a ball carrier too, whatever the situation is. And so he's done a great job of using his legs. And he's faster than people get it credit for. When he turns it on, he can go, which is fun to watch. Like, I get a kick out of it. I love it.
Yeah, I completely agree with you how people sometimes forget about his mobility. I think
I don't know if I said this or Jack said this in the booth, but I swear that came up a few times on Friday too.
Yeah. So that was cool to see. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And the game was filled to the brim too. Not just with like the fan section, but the parents are always there. And I noticed there were some alumni, I think, and then I saw like the Cowboys teams were there too. I mean, it was packed.
Yeah, we had we had senior night. We had, because that got pushed from 2 weeks ago, we had youth night with the Cowboys, and we thought maybe, I don't know, last time we did it, like 25 of them showed up. This time about 70 of them showed up. So it was like, oh boy. Like, we had all these kids, and then the cheerleaders had a youth night, so you had like 100, youth cheerleaders that were there, and so and just running into people. People are excited to be back watching football, so that might be a taste of what homecoming's like. I'm sure it'll be pretty, pretty intense. Yeah,
it seemed like you said, everything just got combined into one big night.
Yeah, it was fun though. Energy was good. We love that. I love walking in there and just the energy, and it's cool because then when the game starts, even the players will tell you, like, we block all that out, and you just get used to that. You don't even, then at halftime you might look around and stuff, but it's been fun.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty loud too, and like even Meadows had a good amount of people.
Did they? I honestly didn't even notice.
Yeah.
You're looking at the field, and so I can hear the OC behind us sometimes, but
I mean, also, obviously this isn't the Meadows team, at least I've been used to when I've been here, but you guys have had a rivalry over the past couple of years too, and I think that knowing it's a Meadows Hersey game, I think that feeling was still in it. Would you agree?
Yeah, I mean, obviously classes and kids move in and out, right? But I would say the last 10 years, really, it seems like a lot of times we always would play Meadows at the end of the year. This was the first time we played them a little earlier in a while. And so those games would always come down to, one of us making the playoffs or the MSL championship. We had some good, there was a couple times we beat them for the championship. A couple times they beat us for the championship. The one year we beat them at their house, and then we had to come back here round one and play them again for the playoffs the very next week. So yeah, I mean, it's a deep rivalry. But all the MSL games are, in the East. Like, everyone's got a little bit of, you want to win your conference, right? So there's fun in that.
Yeah, I feel like Hersey and Meadows have met in like the postseason a few times, right? Like
only postseason. It seems like that because we're always playing late. But postseason was just the one.
Just the one time?
Yeah, it was. That ended up being our first playoff win in a long time. So I think that was in 2018, maybe. Owen Goldsberry's team. We came back from behind, beat them at Meadows, and then, sure enough, we draw them in the first round. We're 8-1. I think they're 7-2 or 6-3, and we draw them, get the home game. So we got to go back and play them the next week, which was nerve-wracking. That was probably one of the I was like, oh my gosh, you don't want to play the same team that you just beat.
Yeah.
Come from behind, what a tough challenge. We played awesome that night, and but that was the one time, and that was our first playoff win in a long time. So that kind of was the key to getting us going here and getting over a hump. And we still have new challenges we want to get through now. So
yeah, that makes me wonder: would you rather in playoffs be going up against a team more in those early rounds, or a team that's in a different conference or farther away?
I think most coaches would rather go against a new opponent. You want to. It's kind of the fun of football. You have to make the playoffs, or I should say, you have to. Not everybody makes the playoffs. Yeah. So that's the cool thing about football is you got to get to 6 wins to guarantee a spot. 5 wins maybe gets you in. And only 32 teams get in, so that's the cool part. It becomes this really intense little tournament, and you take whatever comes. I mean, you can't predict it really. So
sure. And then also, I wanted to mention, I think it was towards end of the third quarter. Carson Grove took that big hit. It was scary, even from my angle too. My teacher was on the sideline, said it looked crazy. I know he's doing better, but how's his recovery going?
Yeah, actually, I mean, it was a big hit. It was right on the 1 yard line. So he, when you're right in the corner like that, he's trying to score. The other kid's trying to finish. I mean, I was a little upset because there's a helmet to helmet rule that's there for a reason. I won't get into that, but really, then you look at Carson, but all of everything they had to do was precautionary. And so I kept telling the kids, like, he's fine. Like, we were joking. Like, as soon as I went down there, I didn't even see the hit. I just heard it. But it was, Carson can bring it, too. I think Carson can.
I mean, he was having a good
Yeah,
good game,
and so he's a physical player, and I walked down there, and he was alert, and he's like, did I score? I'm like, no, you're on the 1, so we were kind of chuckling, and but I knew he was fine. Everything was fine, so I told the team, he's fine. We got to do all this precautionary, which you should do. So I went to check in with him that night. He was at Northwest, and Dad said he was okay, and went home and came Saturday morning for film. I'm like, go home and rest, So he's just on protocol and feeling better every day, and so he'll be back. Yeah,
that's definitely good to hear.
Mm-hmm.
So then moving on to this week's matchup against Wheeling. You guys are still going in undefeated. When you're talking to players and coaching staff about your record, do you make a big deal about being undefeated going week to week, or do you just not mention it or pay attention to it at all?
I mean, I think, we're all happy with the position we're in, so we take pride in that, right? But at the end of the day, yeah, we got to go week to week. I mean, we don't want to look ahead this week. We know we got, potential championship matchups coming up. And so you just want to go about your business week to week. And, no, I'm proud. I like when they play with confidence. I told them you're one of the handful of undefeated teams left. We take pride in that. But obviously you got to focus on this week.
Yeah, definitely. Then taking a closer look at the matchup, what are some parts of Wheeling that really stand out to you guys? Yeah,
I mean, they won a big game, first week of the season, which they were on a little bit of a streak, so I was happy for them. And they have some good athletes that touch the football, so we're going to have to obviously do our job and execute. But really, and this, I'm sure it sounds cliche, Connor, but it's. I don't care who we play. I say it all the time. Like, it's our level of we either execute or we don't, right? So you play to our level, and whoever the opponent is, like, it's kind of faceless to us, and that's kind of been our motto all season is more about challenging ourselves, competing with ourselves, and not really worrying about who's on the other side, and that's the way we like to do it. We've been kind of riding that all year, and we're going to keep doing that.
Yeah, I like that mindset, though, going in with a faceless opponent, like you said. You can just focus on so much more, I think, like doing your job, everyone's assignment, and just, I think, I may be wrong, but it might even take a little bit of pressure off of the guys, just treating every game like it's the same.
No, I think it does. I think that's part of why I want to do it. Like, it's a challenge within us. If you get too emotional about the opponent, and we all do, everybody does, that's sports. But at the same time, I really just care about how we play, right? Like, how do we execute? How are we running? What kind of energy do we have? How are we doing the fundamentals? And that's what we're trying to concentrate on this week.
And then finally, I don't want to look too far ahead here, but you guys have 2 very important games coming up to close your season out before playoffs. How do you guys make sure, though, you're not getting too ahead of yourselves and you're just focusing on that one game at a time mindset?
I think just what we just said. I mean, you just have to reiterate it. I mean, with our coaches, they're experienced, and so they know kids, they know teams, they know football, and so they know the mindset, and they're competitive. So we're always just getting ready for the next thing. You don't know who you're going to play in the playoffs, but listen, you're talking about, 3 more intense MSL East games. Wheeling, Prospect, BG, it doesn't get more, that's what I'm saying. Every team in MSL East is fun. Kids won't overlook it. We're excited to play these games. We we lost a prospect in BG in the spring, and so it'll be a good challenge for us.
Do you Prospect? They're still undefeated, right? Or have they lost one?
They're 5-1.
5-1.
The one loss they had was to St. Francis, who's a.
So that was one of the non-conference games.
Yeah, well, they were supposed to play Niles. It got canceled. Niles had to cancel for COVID, and so they picked up St. Francis, who's a really good 4A team. I think they're 5-1 right now. So Prospect took on the challenge of playing those guys, and they came up a little short, but it was a good game for them. And so they're tough. They're the real deal. So we'll have our hands full with them, but it'll be fun.
I'm excited. Emotions are going to be high that night.
Yeah.
Homecoming night and everything.
Yeah,
Like you said, it's definitely going to be crowded. So it'll be exciting.
It's I don't think too far ahead. Just because I like to take it a day, even like on a Thursday or a Friday. I'm like not thinking about the night because let it come when it comes, and then I'm trying to enjoy it as most. We missed it, so I'm just trying to take it all in and enjoy it.
That's good. Well, thank you, Coach, for coming on today.
Yeah.
It's fun catching up with you.
How was the broadcast on Friday?
Oh, it was fun.
Yeah?
It was good. Yeah, we had a lot of fun doing it. It went really well. Our three-person crew was great this year.
People like you.
It's been great. Thank
People
you.
like you.
Yeah, we were getting talked to by one of the parents saying that we were a big hit with the grandparents.
There you go. See, you just got to give a shout out to them, or you should do that next time. Like
definitely shout out,
because a lot of the grandparents don't want to come, but they love to watch, right?
Yeah.
So recognize them. There you go.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Sure,
it's pretty cool.
All right, to our viewers, thank you again for sticking in and watching with us, and we will see you in the next podcast.